in terms of cryptocurrencies generally, I can say almost with certainty that they will come to a bad ending. Now, when it happens or how or anything else, I don't know. But I know this. I get into enough trouble with things I think I know something about. Why in the world should I take a long or short position in something I don't know anything about?
That was Warren Buffett earlier today when he sat down with our own Becky Quick, saying some harsh words about the future of cryptocurrencies. Now, this isn't the first time Buffett has bashed a new speculative industry with sky-high valuations. Take a listen to what the Oracle of Omaha said about internet stocks 20 years ago.
I would say there's no one here that can understand some new internet company. And I said at the annual meeting this year that if I were teaching a class in business school on the final exam, I would pass out the information on an internet company and ask each student to value it. And anybody that gave me an answer, I'd flunk.
Go Gators, by the way.
That's what Buffett told Florida University students in 1998 about valuing internet companies. Well, internet stocks have come a long way since then, as the tech sector makes up about 24% of the S&P 500. It did have that minor dip in between. But is this deja vu? And is Buffett right about crypto, or does one of the greatest investors of all time have it all wrong? It says go to BK. I'm going to try and guess what you're going to say. Yes, he's got it all wrong.
Well, I don't know. Actually, you know what? I'm not going to say he's got it all wrong. There are parts of the crypto market that are in a speculative frenzy, that are, you're getting valuations in some of these things. And I'm not necessarily talking about Bitcoin, but some of the smaller coins, you're starting to see the speculative frenzy. They don't have much behind them. And you know what? They will end up badly in that particular sense. But that being said, I think the important thing to remember here is, you had a bubble in the internet stocks, but it was still a transformative technology, and you could still make a lot of money on it. And Amazon and Facebook and Google all came out of that era. So if you're looking for what is the next internet investment over a long time frame, then I think Buffett's completely wrong.
Yeah, but look, and I'm invested there. But I mean, you can't say, first, I don't know how we're doing valuations, Brian. I mean, you talk about valuations being fraud. I'm not even sure what's there. But I'm surprised Mr. Buffett didn't talk about the equities that are attached to crypto and putting valuations, and why he didn't reference a Kodak, which, maybe I'll look even sillier when it's $30 a share. But to me, I don't understand this. I will say, and this goes back to that RBC interview we had on crypto the other night. I mean, the fact that the internet was really a conceptual. So the decentralization that's coming from crypto is something I think a lot of people have a tough time finding the applications for, and it's there.
All right. Well, our next guest agrees with Warren Buffett. Aswath Damodaran is known as Wall Street's Dean of Valuations, a professor at NYU Stern School of Business. He joins us now from San Diego, California. Dean, great to have you with us. Dean in quotes, of course. Is Warren Buffett right on crypto?
I think he's brushing the entire sector with too broad a brush, because I don't think you can write off cryptocurrencies altogether. Is it going to end badly for some of the people involved? Absolutely. It's going to end badly for those people who got onto the bandwagon late and are playing the pricing game. That's all they're doing. They're hoping to buy at a low price and sell at a high price. And for some of them, it's going to end badly. But looking forward, I agree with your panel that there is a future for fintech, and I think we mix together lots of different kinds of crypto investments in the cryptocurrency space. Some of them are going to succeed, some of them are going to not. So I think to put them all together in one big bucket and throw them over the edge doesn't make any sense to me.
Is that why you think you can value Ethereum versus Bitcoin?
Yeah. In fact, when I look at the cryptocurrency buckets, I see three separate buckets. There's the cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin, which cannot be valued because they're currencies. They're crypto commodities. Ethereum is a crypto commodity. What's different about Ethereum is it's not marketed as a currency. It's marketed as a lubricant for smart contracts. And smart contracts are what the fintech, the blockchain revolution, is going to deliver. And if Ethereum can become a significant part of that business, you can value it as a commodity. And there are crypto assets, which are what the ICOs are, which can be valued as slices of businesses. So I think to view them all as useless and worthless is, I think, wrong.
It's Karen, let me ask you something. In the original, I guess, internet bubble, 2000, did you find that you had the same ideas about difficulty of valuation, and or there were other metrics that got you comfortable then?
You know what? I love valuing difficult to value companies. It makes me strange. I get them wrong every single time.
That's what you got to do.
So I valued Amazon every year since '97. I've bought Amazon 4 times. I've sold Amazon 4 times. I didn't buy it at the right time. I didn't sell it at the right time. But to me, there is a way to value these companies. You cannot walk away saying, I don't understand a business, so I cannot value it. Because the older you get, the more of the world you're not going to understand. So if you take the Buffett view, most of the world is going to start to be off, out of bounds for you. So I think we've got to try to value businesses, even if they're young, even if they're in places where everything is evolving, everything is changing.
So I want to get back to Ethereum, since you think that we can evaluate or value Ethereum. How is it valued right now relative to how it's trading?
I'll be quite honest. I think every single crypto asset is being priced right now. It's not being valued. What I mean by that is if you ask people why they're paying what they are for any of these crypto investments, you don't get a fundamental answer. You don't get a logical answer. You get an answer of, I think I can make more money on this. So I don't think any of these investments are being valued right now. They're being priced, but that's not unusual either. You could say the same thing about the dot-com sector in the late 90s, is every company was priced. Eventually, valuations matter. And that eventually might be a year from now, 2 years from now. And maybe that's what Buffett is talking about when he talks about a bad end, is when that valuation time comes, some of these crypto investments are not going to hold up. So right now, I don't think anybody's valuing a crypto investment. They're all pricing it.
Okay, they're priced, but how do you value it? Or have you put a valuation on it so we can gauge what the disparity is?
I'll tell you what's holding me back. I don't see a business model yet from Ethereum. They're talking the talk, but they're not walking the walk yet. They're talking about how they're lubricants in the smart contracting business, but they're not being lucid about the way they plan to make money on that business. So I can't get ahead of them and create a business model for them. That's not my job. So until they create a business model, I'm kind of holding back. But I think that that's going to be the next phase in the crypto investment market, is you're going to start to see people pushing these crypto investments to come up with business models to show how they will make money. But that's part of the life cycle of investments as well.
Hey, Dean, it's Brian Kelly. So I'm curious about that, because Ethereum is an open source project. It's not a company, so they're not going to put forth a business model necessary. And part of their value or their value prop is that they are the picks and shovels. You can build on top of this. Isn't that the business model?
But eventually the picks and shovels have to get pennies on the dollar, or cents on the dollar, because without it, the picks and the shovels are worth nothing, right? So ultimately, even if it's an open source model, some of the revenue generated from using those picks and shovels have to accrue to Ethereum. If that doesn't happen, it's worth nothing. If that does happen, it's worth something. So the fact that it's an open source model, it's giving the picks and shovels, doesn't make it necessary that you will not be able to generate those cents on the dollar.
Aswath, thanks for your time. Always great to get your analysis.
Thank you.
Aswath Damodaran of NYU, the Dean of Valuation.
The Dean.
So do you agree in any way that there's really no way to put a valuation on the cryptocurrencies?
On currencies themselves, they're notoriously hard to value, because a currency, really every currency, whether it's gold or the euro or the US dollar, is a matter of faith. Can I use this to buy something in the future? So it's very, very difficult. I think the best way to value these is to look at these as social networks. So we look at Facebook and we look at Twitter and say, what are the monthly active users? How much time do they spend on it? I think a very similar metric is to say, okay, how much activity is going on the Ethereum network or the Bitcoin network? How much development is going on? And that, to me, are the metrics that you should start using to value these. And in that sense,
But you put a dollar value for every transaction added to the Bitcoin network? I mean, how do we come up with this price of $14,395 on our Bitcoin bug there?
It's transaction volume.
Yeah, it's transaction volume,
so
the number of users.
Is there a price per, is there a market cap
I
per
don't
volume?
know.
I mean, how do we do this?
I would
Yes.
aggressively argue
okay.
against the view that the dollar and the euro you can't value, though. I mean, I think there's trade-weighted terms. I think there's purchasing power parity. I think there's actually all types of metrics relative to themselves. But I don't think you're wrong in crypto. I really don't. I think you're right. But I think the FX market is very different.